So in the late 60s and early 70s, there were two researchers, Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman, that realized that we don't have one way of processing information. We've got two, System 1 and System 2. They called it System 2 because they're the second parts of the brain that get developed over time. System 1, however, gets developed first in the womb. It's also parts of the brain that we can see in chimpanzees. So we think about System 2, it's more in your conscious brain, the things that you can think about. So we call that you because that's your conceptualization of yourself. But we all have this like chimpanzee or ape brain in ourselves. And if you're a human, that is true. So you've got you and your ape working together. And your ape is a very fast, it's very automatic. And it's where we want to put a lot of learning, things like language and things like that, because they're not having to draw on this System 2, the you part of your brain, the rational part of your brain, where cognitive load comes in, because you've only got a certain number of slots. So you try to put as much in your automatic as possible so your ape can do the work for you so that you can use that System 2. The problem with your System 1, your ape, is that it's those long-term experiences and the things that you learned that put into what's called your long-term memory as opposed to your working memory, so your long-term memory. But along with those long-term memory and those experiences is your amygdala, looking at emotional reactions to those long-term experiences. And when you've got negative long-term experiences, those experiences that have taught you that the world isn't as safe as what you thought it was, and we've all got those experiences, we call them trauma. That's what trauma is. And you've got trauma and emotional reactivity that's linked to this automatic behaviors that's designed to keep us safe, but often trips us up, which often leads us to incorrect conclusions, because our brain with our ape and you is purpose-built to jump to conclusions and to jump to the quickest decisions. And because your ape is quicker than your System 2, you will often believe it more because it's the speed of thought or speed of cognition is often correlated within ourselves as being truth. So a great way to think about System 1 and System 2 is to look at the handbrain, something that Dan Siegel came up with back in the early noughties about how to look at this relationship between these two parts of the brain. And the handbrain is really simple. If you put your hand up in the air and think about your arm as the brain stem, your backbone, your brain stem leading into the back of your brain, the back of your head, and you fold your thumb over, that's kind of like your amygdala and your System 1. This is your ape, your long-term experiences and all the reactive behavior. And if you fold your fingers over your thumb, and you look at it sideways, it kind of looks like a brain if you use your imagination. So this is called the handbrain. And when you flip your lid or you lose your head, your ape runs wild. And so when your ape are doing things that aren't in your best interest, you've got no control whatsoever. And I do like this idea that your System 2, it kind of looks like a cage, and so you're caging your ape. And emotional intelligence is all about the relationship between you and your ape. How do you cage it when it needs to be caged? And how do you train your ape when it's in its cage so that you can let it out a little bit and help it work for you, not against you?